CM Punk is back in the WWE. Hell has actually frozen over. When Punk left in 2014 and a year had passed and the podcast had come out with Colt Cabana, I really thought this would never happen. And then we have a picture of Triple H and Punk shaking hands. Literally, the title is Hell has Frozen Over. This was great. It was rumored, there was a chance he left AEW, but then we were having the devil stuff and people thought that maybe that was Punk, but it was being teased on WWE, but then so many people, all the journalists were saying, no, Punk has not signed, it won't happen. WWE officials are telling us that there's no way it's happening. There's not even been any conversations. So much back and forth, but Survivor Series is in Chicago. He just left. Everything kind of fell into place perfectly. WWE specifically telling journalists that it's not happening was the best part. Well done. That's how you have to treat them. Treat them like dirt so they don't know what's going on. And then they go, well, we're being told this, but that doesn't mean it's true. Like, they're doing their job, but it's great when they don't know. Keep them in the dark. Give them information afterwards. Definitely. I think that's really interesting. And that's what we're kind of getting right now. That it looked like 10 days ago is that, well, actually we're getting that from Triple H, because he kind of alludes to it in the press conference. But basically, it looked like it was going to potentially happen. Then it looked like it wasn't going to happen. And then 10 days ago, it looked like they came to an agreement. And a few hours before the actual PLE at Survivor Series is when they actually signed the contract for a multi-year deal, apparently is what it's looking like. And then, at the same time, all of this works out so well. And what's being shown on Survivor Series is just a Punk's back. But social media, everybody that was there in attendance, see Drew McIntyre as soon as War Games is done, running out with his hand on his head, walking right to the backstage before Punk shows up. Punk shows up, Seth comes out, starts flipping him the bird, telling him to F off, being visibly held back by Michael Cole of all people. And we don't know what's real. We don't know if Drew is upset because Punk's back and because he's having problems with his contract with WWE, whereas if Punk's back, he probably got probably a nicer amount of money from WWE. That's probably more than what Drew's making with less dates. No problem there. Same thing with Seth. Seth is probably looking at that and saying, I've been holding this fort down since 2014 without Punk. He didn't put me over on the way out. Whatever it may be, he's taking my top spot or a top spot for all the people that have been working for 10 years. I think that a lot of people, if they're so upset about Punk taking a top spot, they should really be looking at Roman Reigns, because he's been hogging the title for 3 years now and added nothing. Like, he's not there anymore. Roman needs to lose that title. If you're going to be upset about anybody that's keeping people down, it's Roman Reigns and not Punk. If you're upset because of what has gone, because he left WWE and because of all the carnage that kind of happened in AEW, I get that. That makes sense. But keeping people down, that's Roman. Anyway, now we've got some stuff about everybody talking. Is the Seth stuff real? Is the Drew stuff real? A lot of people are saying, yes, it's 100% real. They're not faking this. Other people are saying it's 100% of work. You're being worked. And then you have a bunch of people like myself in the middle that has no idea and loving it. Absolutely. If it's real, it kind of sucks because the talent is upset. But this is Triple H we're talking about. This is WWE. The people in the back there are able to control their talent. They're not going to blow up. You rarely ever hear about backstage problems in WWE. AEW, on the other hand, has a bunch of children. Not everywhere. Young Bucks, Jungle Boy, and I'd probably say a little bit of Adam Page. Not Omega. Omega, I think, was kind of thrown into the middle of all of this, but looked like he was willing to work with Punk again. And we never heard anything about him again. Young Bucks, as soon as Punk was announced that he was gone, they went and did a victory lap like children in the ring of Collision, as like people are just like slowly starting to not watch it, because what's the point of watching Collision? Collision is dying, and here they are doing a big circle, and they lose viewers. Every time that the Young Bucks show up on TV, the ratings go down. Like, they don't understand that. But anyway, AEW, I still very much like. There's a lot of people in AEW that I absolutely... Christian is what... Out of everybody that's wrestling right now, I would probably say that Christian is my top guy. So I absolutely still love Christian, Edge, Sting, MJF's doing a great job. Danielson, Claudio, Samoa Joe, FTR, Ricky Starks. There's a lot of people that I like in AEW still. So, but Young Bucks are not one of them. Orange Cassidy neither. Anyway, then we have all these people talking about it. Triple H then also said on the press conference, and it doesn't matter if you love him, if you hate him, you're talking about him. And that's exactly what's going on. So not only did Punk return and everybody's talking about that, now they're all talking about the Seth and Drew stuff. Is it real or if it's not? It doesn't matter if it is real or not. Everybody's talking about it. This is what you want. Controversy creates cash in these scenarios because it's not overly done in a negative way. If there's too much drama, then it starts to go down and it doesn't make any cash. It makes you cash for a little bit at the beginning and then it just slowly goes down because it's too much. But just the right amount and it makes you a lot of money and a lot of business. So it's going to be interesting how they kind of treat this going forward. And like I said too, Triple H doesn't allow this to happen. Tony Khan allowed the wrestlers to run the circus. You don't do that. And Triple H won't, so we don't have the children in WWE. It's all adults there. And the other thing too is that Triple H is not going to fear for his life if Punk decides to act up. He's going to put him in line, unlike Tony Khan. That was the biggest problem for AEW is Tony Khan. He's not meant to be a wrestling owner and have that much control. You're not Vince McMahon. You've been wanting to, but you're not there yet. And you need some wrestling minds. And you also need somebody that can actually talk up to these people when they think about these crazy ideas and be like, no, that's a bad idea. We're not going to do this. And this is why we're not going to do this. And I'm the boss. And if you're upset, too bad. That's and be able to then also calm them down and say, no, we're not going to do this because of this. This is the reason why we're not going to do this. We're not, and explain to them and not have them storm out. You can totally do that, but you need the right people in place there. Anyway, everybody's freaking out about Punk. And what I think that we got to do is look at what potentially we could have in the future. Versus Seth is by far the biggest one that you could have at WrestleMania. Seth versus Punk, and I think you turn Seth heel because I think it would work a lot better. And you have Seth saying that you left me 10 years ago and I had to put the company on my back for the past decade. And I've been holding the fort down on Raw ever since I won the world champion. And even last year when I was losing all the time, I was keeping the fort down. And now you're back and you're going to take my top spot away. And all the carnage that you had with AEW, they don't necessarily need to say AEW, but you're a cancer to this the professional wrestling, yada, yada, yada. Awesome. You also could potentially have CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. And I feel if that's the case, you have that main eventing night too. Not Roman and Cody, not Roman and The Rock. I even think if they're able to get I hope that they don't get The Rock. I want Cody to win. I don't care about The Rock. Austin versus Punk though, that's massive. Kevin Owens wasn't as high on the hierarchy of a main eventer, unfortunately, because they haven't used him as well as they should have in the last few years. I really think that they've dropped the ball with Kevin Owens, but Punk is by far a bigger name, and versus Stone Cold would be just so good. So good. And I don't care who wins. You really could have either or win. And then the promos there would be fantastic. You definitely, if they're deciding to go with Austin versus Punk, you can't have him Austin just show up at WrestleMania. You have to have him come out on live, on Raw, on SmackDown, wherever it is, and actually have a promo battle between the two of them. Oh, it would be so good. So then you have those two feuds that would be excellent. Then you also have versus Roman Reigns. That's another big match where the promos could be good with Paul Heyman involved in there. You could then have LA Knight, the promos that you could have versus Miz, the promos you could have in terms of matches that would produce a really good, star quality match. Well, you got Seth Rollins, that would definitely be good. Probably Roman Reigns would probably be good as well. You have AJ Styles. That would be great. You have versus Cody, and Cody, you could have some really good promos because you can talk about AEW or allude to it because that's where Cody started that promotion, and Punk had all these problems with Cody's friends. You could bring that into play. There's so much here versus Gunther in terms of a match, and even the promos would probably be pretty good too. That would be actually really good because you could have Gunther looking at Punk and looking at him and thinking that he's just a baby, that he's just a big whiner. Oh, that would be great. Oh man, that'd be good. There's a lot of room here that you could have some just interesting feuds, interesting angles, and then really great matches too. But I think it's going to be the storylines and promos that would be just outstanding. I'm really looking forward to this, to see where they go. And I cannot wait for Raw tomorrow, where they actually have Punk has to open. And that first promo that he's going to deliver, oh, it's going to be good. I can't wait for this. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. It's exciting. It is exciting to be a wrestling fan at the moment. I feel this is the reason why I watch wrestling. A lot of times, week by week, you're kind of just, it's okay. It's okay. That was one good match. Oh, that was one good promo. For the most part, it's just not mediocrity, but it's just kind of trucking along. But it's every once in a while you get something that's really high up here. And this is one of those moments. So then something to look forward to. So thank you all for watching. You have been bearded in. Beardage.